Hey, this is Frank Todaro,
otherwise known as Starscream.
And you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1Mike and the rest of the comic crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, and Image to IDW, Boom Studios, and Zenescope, we have everything right here. We cover things like Transformers, He-Man, superheroes, TMNT, and Radiant Black. Yeah, we have all that and so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So, without further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we're reading right now, here inside the pull bag.
Hello all, it is I, TFG1Mike, here inside the pull bag, only on the Geekcast Radio Network, and from episode 553 to 561, this is the Skybound section. That's right, all of these episodes that you're going to be hearing, including this clip, in front of every single one of them, is stuff from another comic review with Jesse Earley and myself. We've already published all these over on that show for him, and now we are syndicating them here for the pull bag. These are completely unaltered, unedited episodes, so there you go. Make your great escape into comics and enjoy the show.
Yo, Joe!
Welcome to another comic review. My name is Jesse, and as always, I am joined by TFG1Mike from GeekCastRadio.com.
Yes, I am here.
So yeah, on that note, we are discussing Duke and Cobra Commander number 5. Duke has been out for a while now, right? Almost a month?
Yeah,
or
pretty
more?
much, yeah.
Month and a half?
Yep.
So Cobra Commander was actually delayed a little bit, so that's why it's, right, there's not out at the typical time that this episode would be out, but
yeah,
hey, Cobra Commander just came out, so.
Well, and the thing of it is they've got to space these out. Like, you can't have all three titles, technically 4 titles, Duke, Cobra Commander, Void Rivals, and Transformers, come out all in the same damn day. If you have 4 comics that you're wanting to launch or wanting to continue, like, one a week, Duke comes out the first week, Cobra Commander comes out the second week, Transformers the third week, and Void Rivals the fourth week. That's the way it usually is done for the most part. And sometimes because of continuity and because they're all different series technically, it just varies. And just, yeah, Duke has been out for a while, and I didn't read it until like right before the recording because that's how I roll. I'll forget about stuff, man.
Yeah, and even like with this month, right? So both Void Rivals and Cobra were delayed, so they both came out the same day.
Yep.
Which I actually liked because I'm like, oh, I get to read more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, now we're in this lull, and I got to wait for the next one. So, so topic number 1, Duke number 5 by Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, Jordy Belair, and Russ Wooten. Russ, I'm giving you credit here. You're not on the cover. Giving you credit. All right, the quick synopsis from ImageComics.com. Mini-series finale. Codename G.I. Joe is here. Duke has been betrayed by his allies and hunted by new enemies. The time has come for Duke to start fighting for something bigger than his country, bigger than he ever could have imagined. Get ready for the last page shocker that no one will see coming.
We all saw it coming. Let's be honest with it. This is Transformers G.I. Joe. We all saw it coming.
Right. And my quick rundown, so we open with Colonel Hawk in the pit wanting to know where the hell Duke is, but Clutch refuses to tell. Stalker hands over something they found in the wreckage and says it could lead them to Duke. We cut to Duke being choked out by the battle android trooper, a.k.a. Dr. Claw from the last issue. Destro makes an entrance and tries to get Duke to join him, but Duke headbutts him and takes out the battle trooper. Destro and his men make an escape and blow up the warehouse with Duke still inside. We're presented with a series of news reports telling us that Duke has been killed, but the next page reveals that Duke is very much alive, recovering in a hospital while chained to his bed. Colonel Hawk and Scarlet enter the room, and Colonel Hawk tries to convince Duke to trust him once more, and surprise, surprise, he does. They return to the pit where Colonel Hawk tells Duke that he wants him to put together a highly trained special mission force, wonder what they're going to call it, that can handle threats. Duke, not wanting to fight anyone else's wars for them, initially refuses, but reconsiders when Scarlet shows him a surveillance photo from months ago. It's a photo of Optimus Prime in battle. We conclude with Duke saying he will destroy them all, referring to the Transformers. So your thoughts and review of Duke number 5.
Just a quick note, normally the colorists are not credited on the covers of any comics, normally on the front cover. Like you got Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, and Jordi Belair at the top above Duke. I just looked at the Void Rivals number 9, which we will talk about way, way later after this episode. Kirkman, DeFelici, and Del Pesce. So it's whatever the first 3 names are, that's what's all, and that's not just with this company, that's with all comics. It's usually like the first 3 names of whatever the credits are. So letterers usually don't get credited on the front cover, which they should, honestly, in my personal opinion. But
I mean, our man Russ here is like doing like everything.
Yeah, I like this. I think this is fun. This is good. This is interesting. Like I mentioned last time when we talked about Duke number 4, I think number 4 really kicked it up a notch with the escape and all this and all that. And now we just kind of have this here where it's more of the action, which is what you've been waiting for, because apparently you don't like story.
No. I love story. My biggest issue with this entire series, and we can talk more about this when we get to Cobra Commander 2, is that, and I realize we've talked about this, and you've kind of explained it, and it makes sense to me. But my biggest issue so far is that the story is just going way too quick. And I realize I got to jam all of it into 5 issues. But I think that's my biggest issue with a miniseries is it can't take its time to kind of build on things. It's got to be, super quick. And I don't know that the ends justify the means here. And again, I'll talk more about that as we get into Cobra Commander. But I mean, all of this is really just a setup for saying, hey, let's put together G.I. Joe.
Yep, pretty much. I love the art. I love the lettering. I love the colors. The one thing I will say about Duke overall, the 5 issues, I freaking love the colors. All of the various colors, even the tans and beiges and whatever other title somebody out there has for beige, it doesn't really matter to me, but I just really dig it. And I was not expecting to see, even though you already told me about it, which is fine. Spoilers don't affect me because I'll forget. But like, I was not really expecting to see Optimus Prime at the end of this, because I asked you after you first read it, and I'm like, well, I mean, is the end of the series kind of like what it says in the promotion, the shocking end to Duke's miniseries, and you're like, it's really not that shocking. I'm like, no. Okay, sure. But no, I really dug this. Again, I think this is good. I think this is what I love about Skybound is that because they are a company with new license to do Transformers and G.I. Joe and all that stuff now, it's going to get people that are brand new that have never seen anything. That's what this is for. Somehow, some way in the last 40 or 41 years or however the hell long old all this stuff is, people that have never read a Transformers comic or never read a G.I. Joe comic, this is for those people. And it's for us too, because there are plenty of references and plenty of things and plenty of whatevers. But yeah, no, issue 5, I really dug it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was really interesting. And I really want to see how the Transformers and G.I. Joe interact. And maybe we will see that in G.I. Joe coming whatever the free comic book day issue said.
Right. I guess my biggest issue with this, or just kind of the whole story in general, is, again, it was super quick. I don't think that ends justify everything that kind of came before.
Yeah.
But what the ending to this is sort of alluding to is, right, because they're showing a picture of Optimus Prime.
Yep.
Duke's obviously thinking, or maybe the rest of the Joes are kind of thinking, the higher ups, that right, they're kind of all one and the same. Autobots, Decepticons, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're Transformers. They're all bad robots.
Right. So I think this is alluding to the fact that obviously there's going to be some sort of confrontation between them. Ultimately, they'll probably come around and be like, oh, okay, well, there's an Autobots and there's Decepticons. Autobots are the good guys. I just feel like that sort of storyline is like played out where it's like, oh, yeah, you're our enemy. And then, oh, wait, we're going to come around and, we're actually allies.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, it's a story trope that's been around for God knows how long. But again, I think because this is new and fresh, and the last time, I'm probably going to get his name wrong, but Tom Scioli, he did IDW Publishing's Transformers G.I. Joe crossover for IDW, and I have not read that because I just haven't gotten into it at all. I need to probably go back and check it out, but it's one of the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I am very interested to see how the art style of both this Duke and Cobra Commander go with, like, how these characters are going to be drawn with and colored with the Transformers when they eventually do meet up at whatever point that is, whenever. And I really, really dig it. It's one of those things where that story point that you're kind of tired of, it's like, that's the way all great, I should say great, but it's the way all great stories are kind of told when it comes to, bad robots. And let's hope J.J. Abrams doesn't get a Transformers movie. Holy crap. I swear, every time I say bad robot, the only thing I can think of is J.J. Abrams' production company, because that's bad robots.
I mean, he can't do any worse than The Last Night, right?
Well, luckily we have Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts to wash our mouths out of The Last Night. But yeah, I mean, I think this finale does a lot of things. It kind of closes things off, and it kind of pushes Duke into a new era of what's next for him. And what's next for him is Duke versus Optimus Prime, because he doesn't know that the big red truck is a good guy versus a bad guy. It's the gray tank isn't here. It's the idiotic jet that's the bad guy. Come on, Duke, get your head out of your ass.
You did bring up a good point, though, because when you compare the art style within Duke here with everything we've seen in Transformers, even with the artist switchover, they're two completely different styles.
Absolutely.
Right, Duke's got in my opinion, very much. It looks very much like a Sunday newspaper comic to some degree. Whereas, GI Joe. Whereas Transformers is much grittier. So while we see Starscream in here, as well as Optimus, Starscream kind of in silhouette form. Yeah, but Optimus, kind of fully drawn and colored there. Even that art style of like Optimus here looks a little bit different than what we see in the rest of Duke. Yeah. So once they actually start combining these two different properties, I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like. Yeah, absolutely. But overall, I'm actually happy that the series is over. I am glad that I stuck with it, but I don't. Again, for me, it was a bit too quick. I would have liked to have seen them kind of slow it down a little bit. I realize why they couldn't. They've only got 5 issues. Yeah. But I am curious to kind of see like the kickoff, the formation of G.I. Joe, and the kickoff of that entire series. Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting for when I eventually do this a second time over on the pull bag, because I will do it in trade. No, I'm serious. Like, because I'm syndicating these episodes, but I'm not syndicating the Transformers ones we're doing. So when we get this in trade and we have to eventually double dip on buying the thing, that's why I love trade so much, trade paperbacks, is because it's the whole story right there. You may have had to wait 6 to 8 months, but at least you get the whole story and looking at it as a whole versus the last 5 weeks or however the hell. I know there's only 5 issues here, but you know what I mean? Like it's usually been 5 months, whatever kind of thing, and looking at it in the collected edition stuff is going to be interesting to see if it changes at all. Because one of the things I love about reading a single story in a trade paperback, like I said already, it's the whole story. I don't have to wait a month. I can just turn the page and just be sucked right into the next issue or the next part of the story. And most of trade paperbacks will do things like, do I have an example readily now? Most trade paperbacks will have just, obviously, the one title page. So it's just like that first front page here with all the things. And then sometimes trades do the variant covers as split up between. So they'll do, at the end of Duke number 1, they'll have a variant cover from Duke number 1. And then the next page will be the cover to Duke number 2. We'll go through that whole story without any confidential Duke credit page. And it will just go through more fluidly. But
at the end of the day, I liked this. I think this is fun. I think this is interesting. I like the way they've introduced all of the various G.I. Joe characters that some of us or most of us will know, but it's in a different way. It's not just the same thing I said when we do the Transformers ones. Daniel Warren Johnson writing Transformers is not just rewriting the Generation 1, More Than Meets the Eye, parts 1, 2, 3, Transport to Oblivion, etc. Like, he's not just rewriting those in comic form. He's taking those characters from that franchise and putting them into completely different things. And that's why I love Duke, and to some sort of similar extent Cobra Commander, but we'll get into that later.
Okay. Anything else on Duke?
No. I think overall I enjoyed it. Overall, I'm very interested to see how the blonde army guy is going to go up against the big red truck.
Yeah. So as you were talking about the trades, I was going to ask you a question about it. And then you sort of answered my question before I actually had a chance to ask it. And it was like I only own a single trade. And that is for the Death of Superman. And that included between stories, that included like a cover page.
Yes.
And when you said it was kind of like, kind of all the stories combined into one, you could just read it all in one fell swoop. I wasn't sure if it was still split up into like 5 issues, or 5 different sections representing, each issue, or if it was literally, you just kept turning the page and it was like the full story.
It depends on the company and it depends on what they want to do. That's what I'll say. It really does depend on which publisher it is and all of that. I am actually scrolling through my Kindle Comics thing to find you a specific... Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes, I know with DC trades, they will do... Sometimes, like when they do back in 2011, when they launched the New 52, the first rebirth or the first renumbering for DC, what they did was they had the main cover. So you have the main cover of, let's say, Duke here as its color version as you see it. And then if you go to the next page, it would have a white, basically just the drawing style of it, just the lines of that cover. And then it'll go into the title page, and then it might go into a second cover or something, and then the story will start. And it would do that and that's just for DC, from what I remember from old Batman Beyond trades and Nightwing trades and things like that. So it just does depend on what. That's why I'm very interested to see how Skybound is going to collect these, because I'm interested to see what the layout is going to be for the Skybound books. So I'm very excited for this. It's exciting times for 80s kids and G.I. Joe kids and Transformers kids and everybody else.
Well, I don't know about picking up the Cobra Commander and Duke trade, but I am very interested in the Transformers one. So I just wish it was hardcover as opposed to paper.
Now, they will do that event. So, they will do that eventually. Right now, I think, I'm going to reference another 80s property that has nothing to do with any of this, but it has to do with the hard
Is it
covers.
GoBots?
No. Hell no. Hell no. We won't go, bots. No. Turtles, TMNT. They have hardcover editions, and what's great about IDW publishing with Turtles, hardcover editions, and they're done in story order. What that means essentially is my buddy Joe and I have been covering Turtles since 2014. It launched in 2011 from IDW. But when they do the trade paperbacks and when they do the hardcovers, they put so like you have Turtles 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then there's a micro series or a macro series, which is just IDW's version of spotlight issues like this Cobra Commander and Duke and all that, because that takes place in the midst of between issues 4 and 5, and I'm using that as an example. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but I'm saying the in story order, how they do that, and I love how they do that with hardcovers over at IDW. So I'm sure that Cobra Commander, Duke, and G.I. Joe and Transformers and Void Rivals will all get hardcover stuff because, number one, they want us to triple dip for those who've already bought it. Number two, they wanted to bring it to market to people who have never read it before and who are not us, who are not at the comic shop or not waiting for Amazon to release it week to week to week to week to week or whatever. So I am fairly certain that Skybound will be doing hardcovers at some point in the future.
I just gotta wait.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. I know, but it's worth it. Trust me.
I hope so. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else on Duke?
Nope.
All right. So moving on to topic 2, Cobra Commander number 5 by Joshua Williamson, Andrea Milana, Annalisa Leone, and our buddy Russ.
Yep.
Quick synopsis from ImageComics.com. Miniseries finale, The Rise of Cobra Commander. To build an army, Cobra Commander makes a deal with a powerful ally that can't be trusted. Now that it started, can the Cobra threat ever be stopped? ? Guess we'll find out in the G.I. Joe series, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, my quick rundown. So we open with a view of different destroyed Mars locations around the United States. Destro is talking to Mercer as the two are trying to figure out who is causing these attacks. Destro's men carrying one of the captured dreadnoughts, I suppose one that's still actually alive, because I think the rest are dead.
Yeah.
For most of them. And he delivers an invitation to Destro, upon which he and his men head out via helicopter. When they arrive at the invitation coordinates, a location in suburban America, lasers rise up from the ground and take out the chopper and some of the men. Cobra Commander makes his entrance and tells Destro that he has an opportunity for him. Cobra Commander leads them all to his lab where he shows off the power of Energon. He speaks of different groups around the world all seeking money, power, and control, and how they lack common leadership. Cobra Commander Destro strike an alliance, Cobra Commander supplying the energy, and Destro providing the army and weapons of Mars. They enter the local town hall, which is filled with men and women with all sorts of weapons. Cobra Commander takes the stage. He gives a speech to rally the people, telling them that they came here to find a purpose and that he has more power than anyone could imagine and that he wants to share it with all of them. Together, he announces, they are Cobra. The issue concludes back at Cobra Law, where Globulus learns that Cobra Commander knew more about the Transformers than he let on. Globulus orders his men to find and bring back Cobra Commander, while Pythona agrees to explore the source of the robot invaders as she leaves Earth in her ship. Thoughts and review of...
That's what that was. I thought Cybertron hawked a loogie at Earth or something. That's what that looks like. It looks like a booger.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of like what the Autobots had in Transformers the movie, and then what the Junkions had in Transformers the movie, this is nothing like that.
No, this thing literally, like, I'm zoomed in on the last page of this comic, and it literally looks like a flaming booger.
I was going to say brain, but
just tomato. Honestly, I'm kind of like,
what? Just the brain or the entire?
No, the
issue?
whole issue. Like, okay, all right. So like you said, we start where we start, and then we get all this and we get all that, and I get it that their ultimate goal was for Cobra to be formed by the end of this issue. That's fine, but I don't know. It just kind of.
I mean, I really like to know like how much time has passed, because in the last issue, right, he only just then found this, or was introduced to the scientist guy who had harnessed Energon and was, changing its form and everything. In here, it's like he's got this completely brand new lab built, and they're apparently have been experimenting with it even further, and like Cobra's all in the know now, and yeah, and now by the end of this issue is like, oh yeah, now we're Cobra, and I've struck this deal with Destro, and here we are.
Yeah, honestly, I think, and I know this is wrong, and I'm sorry to say this, but honestly, I think the best part of the story is the scientist begging to be killed. Because honestly, you could have. Okay, I get it. You wanted to, and Joshua Williamson, great writer. He's written plenty of other things in comics over his career and span. I get you wanted to form Cobra, but it could have, like, you could have cut out the, I don't know. There's like between the handshake and where we see the flag drop, like as they're walking in, like that page where you finally see him take his trench coat off and you see the full garb of Cobra. Like, you could have cut that entire page out, I think, or found a different way to, like, and this doesn't have like the fact that the booger flies off into space or whatever. Like, I dare say that Optimus Prime on an iPad or Android tablet is more compelling for me to continue or want to continue reading the further adventures of Duke versus they launched a booger into outer space. Like, I don't know, man. After I read and I told you this off air, I said, I'm ready for Duke, and we're not doing Void Rivals tonight, but I said I'm ready for Duke, I'm ready for Cobra Commander, I'm ready for Void Rivals. I read them each twice. So I read Duke twice, I read this twice, and I read Void Rivals twice in order to prepare to make sure I had everything in. But as I'm looking through this, I'm like, yeah, this is not a finale issue that left me with any interest of going forward with this, whereas Duke did.
Yeah, I mean, this is really nothing more than we need an antagonist to our other series.
Yep.
I think if this would have played out completely differently, right, at the end of this, we don't have Cobra. I think if we go into the Destro series, we go into the Scarlet series, and we see, different panels of Cobra Commander and, behind the scenes, he's putting together Cobra. Yeah. I think that would have been far, far better storytelling.
Yeah. Like, and again, if you take out the booger going into space, you could have ended this on that page. If you're on Amazon Kindle, folks, Kindle Comics, whatever, location 18 of 31, 57% complete. You could have ended on. You didn't need the meanwhile at Cobra La bullshit. You didn't need that at all. Hell, you could have ended it on the damn handshake, and that would have made me want to come back for whatever is after this kind of thing.
That's what I was going to say. I think that would be like the perfect ending here is him shaking hands with Destro.
And the other thing is, neither one of these issues, and I'm just stating this as a fact, I'm not complaining about it, but neither one of them say anything about to be continued in, like, that usually gets me. Like, okay, you launched a booger from Earth into outer space because you need to go find the giant gray red tank, whatever the hell.
They're on the search for the Kleenex.
Yeah, exactly. the Kleenex of Quintessa. That's what it is. The Kleenex of Quintessa. It's Quintus on snot, folks. That's what it is. But like a to be continued, or G.I. Cobra will return, or something. That bottom page of the last page needed something. I mean, the Duke issue is kind of self-evident. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's going to be Duke versus Optimus Prime. Okay, fine. But like the little blurb here just says, and take this war to the stars. Like, okay, what are you doing, Cobra La? You going to go to Cybertron? I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know. I just felt really let down by this whole damn thing because initially I didn't want to read this, not this issue, but no, seriously, this series. When I read interviews with Joshua Williamson, the writer, he said basically is that this is Cobra Commander, the G.I. Joe villain, whatever, but it's a horror story. And the first 4 issues, I believe, are a horror story. I think that's cool, and I'm not into horror, but I think that's cool. And this issue basically it's a lame duck. It does nothing. It forms Cobra. Okay, great. That's awesome.
It only forms Cobra in the sense that he called them Cobra.
Yeah.
Right? Just random people Cobra.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, but yeah, and obviously we will read Destro and we will read Scarlet. I think Duke had the Scarlet preview, and this has the Destro preview. I didn't really look too far at it because, again, I'm going to forget by the time we get to it. I'll have to reread it anyway, so what the hell's the point of me reading the preview that's in Cobra Commander number 5? But I hate to say it, if I was rating this on the GCRN Universal Rating Scale, I'd probably give this a 1.5 or a 0. Honestly, the only good thing about this entire issue is the art. That's the only good thing to me.
Yeah. No, I'm actually a big fan of the art. Here much more so than Duke.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, going back to what I said during the Duke discussion, I don't think the ends justify the means here.
No.
What we've seen in issue 1 through 4 does not justify him creating Cobra here by the end of this issue. It's just, again, I know only 5 issues, miniseries,
right,
but it's way too rushed.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like between issue 4 and 5, we would have needed, like, I don't know, many, many, many months, if not years in between.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not what we're getting here.
No.
Based on what I'm understanding of the timelines. So,
yep. Nope.
A question for you. I tried to do a little bit of research on this before we started recording. I could not find an answer. So where Cobra's hanging out, I called it the suburbs. Does that place have a name?
I don't know. I don't think so.
The reason I ask is because in the Larry Hama series, same exact location, and I don't know what the hell the place is.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Because I didn't watch the cartoon growing up. I've seen, I mean, not from start to finish. I've seen some episodes, but I don't recall there ever being like this suburban area that Cobra called home.
No, I think this is a purely unique thing to the comic, as far as I can tell. Now, Cobra Law's headquarters, maybe that is because again, it's been years since I've seen the G.I. Joe cartoon, so no clue.
Okay, because like I said, this location exists in the Larry Hama series. If it's not named the same thing, like it looks exactly the same in terms of being a suburban area. There's houses there. People are actually living there, and they're actually part of Cobra. So I don't know. But yeah, again, I did some research, couldn't find anything. But yeah, again, I love the art. I think the colors look great. Not a fan of the story. Don't like how it ended. And I think like you, I think it was a big letdown compared to the other 4 issues.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Honestly, this could have ended it. You could have found a way to stick that that flag panel where they were this is now Cobra or whatever the hell. You could have put that somewhere at the end of issue 4 and just called this a day.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's over because I don't want to read any more after this issue. But I have read, unlike you, I have read the previews for both Destro as well as Scarlet. I guess I don't know who the artist or the writer is on this. Let's see. Superstar writer Dan Waters of Universal Monsters, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and acclaimed artist Andre Bresson. That's for Destro.
Yep.
And then going back to Scarlet. Scarlet is Destro's in Duke number 5 as well.
Okay, so maybe where did maybe I saw it online. But yeah,
is it in Cobra Commander 4? Because I've read both of them.
Maybe it could be. I don't remember. Red Hot Rider. Oh, okay. I'm gonna probably like Scarlet. I've got the back page here. Red Hot Rider Kelly Thompson, DC's Birds of Prey, and IDW Publishing's Gem and the Holograms. I'm crediting that myself because they don't do it. And artist Margot Ferrari, the Frontiersman, introduced some of the most anticipated characters to the Energon universe. Based off of, I've interviewed Kelly Thompson 2 different times in the Pullbags history over on the Geekcast Radio Network. So just on the fact that she's writing Scarlet, I know I'm going to like that book.
So yeah, like I said, I've read both. Curious to see kind of where that goes. Although I still find it hard to believe that. Why do these other 2 miniseries if we know we're getting a G.I. Joe series at some point?
Because you want, so I'm sure there's going to be other characters, but Scarlet and Destro, we've only seen, when did we see Scarlet last? In Duke number 1, 2, or 3, I forget which issue we saw her in, but we've already kind of seen her, and Destro
just saw her in Duke 5.
Okay, there you go. So I think that's cool, and I think that's why, is that because they're going to then, after these next 2, I would assume, and I hate to assume because it makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm assuming after Scarlet and Destro's 5-issue minis, that's when they're going to launch G.I. Joe, most likely.
Okay. So I'm looking here at Void Rivals. That's where the most recent issue had Scarlet.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So, yeah, it says Kelly Thompson and Marco Ferrari.
Yep.
So that goes on sale June 5th. Nice. And Destro was what?
Destro, let me check here. June 19th, I want to say. According to Joepedia, Destro 1-5 starting June 19th, 2024.
Okay, so they both launch in June.
So, yeah, June 5th for Scarlet, so read Scarlet first, and then June 19th for Destro.
So assuming they come out on time,
yes,
right, once a month, so we'll see the presumably G.I. Joe launch shortly after that?
I would assume. Yeah, because here's the thing. If they're starting June 5th and June 19th, is that what I said? Yeah.
They would push it to November.
Okay. Really? So yeah, 5 months. But my thing is, maybe what they'll do is, because sometimes they've done this, they'll start the miniseries, and then they'll start the ongoing. So my thinking is, and again, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, what's in July? San Diego Comic-Con. So they're probably going to, Skybound is probably going to have a big presence, hopefully, at San Diego Comic-Con this year. And maybe they'll announce when the G.I. Joe title for the Energon universe is actually going to be then. So
yeah, so it does say that in not the actual, it doesn't confirm that there's a G.I. Joe series, but is it in the letters section? You know, if they were a color that was legible, I could tell you. Okay, I found what I was looking for. So this is in Cobra Commander number 5 in the letters section. It says also, we have some big Energon universe news hitting soon, and most of the crew will be at San Diego Comic-Con to discuss it in person.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would expect some sort of debut announcement to happen then.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's July 25th through the 28th. So, just about 2 months from now.
Yep.
As of this recording.
Yep, as of this recording.
Okay, anything else on Cobra Commander?
I was trying to figure out I was trying to find that the place, but that's why I'm on Joepedia. I figured some of these Wikipedia websites would list more details, and I don't know. So that village or whatever could be, I don't know. And as of this, according to Joepedia, they say previous Cobra Commander number 4, next Destro number 1. So you're supposed to supposedly read Destro first, and then Scarlet, maybe? I don't know. But either way, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting.
It'll certainly be something.
Yeah.
All right. I did want to, before we close things out, because you were not in on the quick hits, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Free Comic Book Day issue as it relates to the G.I. Joe / Duke storyline.
Oh, boy.
Were you not prepared for that?
No. Me? Prepared? No. Why would I be prepared? It's a good thing I still have the book downloaded. Wait a minute.
By the way, while you're looking at that, I'm looking at issue 305 of the Larry Hama G.I. Joe Real American Hero series.
Right.
And on the front cover, they have Cobra marching through this town, and it says, the sign says, "Welcome to Springfield."
Oh, so it's The Simpsons. Got it. It could be Springfield, Missouri. It could be Springfield, Massachusetts. If there's any other Springfields in the U.S., I don't know off the top of my head, but those are the two main ones I can think of. Yeah, outside of looking at my buddy Hot Rod here.
So I'm on Joepedia, by the way. It says, unbeknownst to the world at large, Cobra has already established a foothold in the United States, specifically the seemingly innocuous town of Springfield. At first glance, it has all the appearances of a nice little town with nice middle American values. Stick around, though, and the people might just convince you to stay and believe in the Cobra philosophy. So there you go.
Right, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked the Free Comic Book Day issue overall. I think it was fun. I think, as I said, we said this to each other off air. This is to all these Free Comic Book Day issues, with including all three of these titles in one book, is to get everybody in. Here's a taste of what you need to be reading now, and that's really what these are. And I really dug it. I dug the art. I dug all of it. I thought the stories were cool. I thought there were nice little things, nice character things. Because we've gotten a little bit of character stuff with the Baroness, but I don't think I don't think, because it hasn't been announced yet, I don't think we're going to get a Baroness miniseries. I don't think we really need one. Because when she shows up in various places, the Baroness, absolutely, that's right. And, but overall, yeah, I dug the Free Comic Day issue. I thought it was great.
But what are your thoughts, I guess, as it relates to Duke and the Baroness? Like the Baroness joining...
Yeah, joining G.I. Joe. Yeah. She's probably going to double cross him.
You think?
I mean, we don't know if she was blonde in a former life before they turned her into the Baroness, like the original G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra movie, but I'm sure she's just doing that for some, S&Gs, stuff and giggles.
What about this second team? What do you think that is?
Oh, I couldn't even begin to suspect on that. I am not that, like, I was trying to think about it, and I'm like, second team. The only, like, if they're putting, so Duke is the main G.I. Joe team, the G.I. Joe team we already know. Duke, Flint, Lady J, maybe not Lady J, but Scarlet, all those people that we know as the G.I. Joe team. Maybe this is going to be a out there thought. Maybe the second team is either the Deke series, which is not the Sunbow series, or it's G.I. Joe Extreme. Maybe it's those people. I don't know. No, I'm serious. Like, they could take some various form of all the cartoon teams and put them as a second team. I was like, oh, they're setting up a second. I wonder where that's going to go. I have no idea, but I'll read it anyway.
Do you think that means a whole second comic? Or is that too much G.I. Joe?
I don't think it's too much, but I don't think it's going. I think again, I'm just assuming here. I don't know, but I think what they may do is, and some publishers do this, and they're really good at doing it, is they will have one title and you'll see different stories. Like Duke and his team are over here, and the G.I. Joe Extreme team is over here. And somehow they will meet in the middle at some like culminating point. So G.I. Joe ongoing with two teams. Maybe issue 1 is the two teams splitting off from each other, and then issue 2 is the Duke team, and issue 3 is the other team, and they kind of go back and forth. It's kind of like how people explained IDW 2.0 Transformers to me. You can go you start with the Death of Optimus Prime one shot. You can then go in one or two directions or both. You can go and read More Than Meets the Eye and read all of that by itself and be fine. Or you can stay on Cybertron and watch, Starscream turn to Donald Trump. Or whatever. Because Robots in Disguise is the more political Cybertron one. So two different story points. It's kind of like The Road Not Taken, folks. Go read poetry. Do something. I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know where I was going to go with that. I had a question and then it left my head. So you think maybe this would probably be too much. So not having completely separate ongoing
titles,
series, but maybe just one, but they switch back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay. I don't know. Like, okay, so let's say Destro and Scarlet are the final two miniseries for now.
Yep.
They launch into G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe goes for 10, 11, 12 issues at first, and then maybe they'll do another miniseries thing, but G.I. Joe 13 will still happen. Who knows? I don't know. If you got G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, and Transformers, those are your three main titles. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll get a new Mask comic at some point. I don't know. You never know what these people are going to do.
So you don't think it's something like Superman, Man of Steel?
I don't think at first, because that would be. I mean, these people are juggling a lot, and they're doing very well in their juggling act, but that might be a little like.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe there's like G.I. Joe Red, G.I. Joe Blue. All right, I think that's it, unless you got anything else regarding Cobra Commander. All right, plugs.
GeekCastRadio.com. Check us out over there. We've got over 4,000 episodes, something like 3,000, 4,000, 15 years of content as of this recording, actually. This Saturday, June 1st, is our 15th anniversary, so yay, we've been around for 15 years. Shoot me now. Don't wait till you get home. Just shoot me now.
You're doing that 24-hour live stream, right?
No.
I still think you should do that.
A curse on your house, sir. A pox on your house.
See, right? You could hop on YouTube Live, and you could just have people join you whenever.
Nope.
No. All right.
That's too much.
It seems like it'd be cool, but all right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. This podcast, you can find us on anothercomicreview.com. Where you subscribe, be sure to like us and leave a review if you can. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/matrix_prime. Oh, you can also find the podcast on Instagram. You can find that at Another Comic Review. You can also find me at Blue Sky. I'm at Jesse Earley. Search for me on there. You'll find me. It's open. You can send DMs now. They've got animated GIFs.
Oh my God. I don't understand social media these days.
It's pretty much what Twitter was before it was before over at this point.
Bastardized,
Yeah. So, all right. So coming up next, we have, I believe, Void Rivals. So we'll be doing that in the very near future.
Absolutely.
And All right. So till then, it's Jesse signing off.
Thank you for listening to The Pullbag here on the Geekcast Radio Network, which is featuring syndicated versions of Another Comic Review. Catch you next time. Make your great escape into comics.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.